One of those is Shreveport City Councilman John Nickelson. Hey, Mr. John, welcome back to Keel. How you doing?
Hey, good morning. How are y'all doing?
Okay, let's start here. A rather detailed email from you to the folks at Gateway Development Consortium, now known as Gateway Louisiana LLC. Well, at least they're PR folks in New York City. Well, why don't you just take it from there? What was in the email? What did you want to know? And what did they tell you?
Well, look, I've expressed serious reservations about the proposal that First Gateway Development Consortium and now Gateway Louisiana LLC, a Delaware entity that was formed just last month, have proposed to the city. One of my concerns related to the possibility that the city would incur significant environmental liability under the Superfund Act that was passed in 1980 by the Congress if we were to purchase contaminated land. And that concern has not been addressed. The response that GDC has given to the council and to me is that they as an entity are willing to assume that liability. But that doesn't fix the problem, because if I've got $1 million liability and somebody with $100 in the bank indicates that they will pay the liability for me if it comes to fruition, that guarantee or indemnity is not worth anything to me.
I would imagine, I would imagine at some point, even if they say they're gonna, and if they don't have the money, the lawyers are coming after somebody, and I would imagine that Shreveport will be somewhere near the top of that chain. Fair enough?
That is true. If we purchase contaminated property with knowledge that it is contaminated, and we have that knowledge, everybody knows we're talking about a brownfield as part of this acreage that Gateway has proposed we consolidate and then give to them, then we will incur liability and we would be subject to a lawsuit to clean it up. And that's true whether or not state and federal funds materialize to pay for the remediation or not.
DEQ, in their answer, has stated they're prepared to assist in the remediation of the site. Do we know that's accurate?
I don't. If DEQ has made the statement that they are prepared to assist, I don't question that. But a prospective indication of intent from DEQ that they will assist is not the same as a guarantee from the state or federal government that they will pay the entire cost of the remediation.
You also asked a question, and your email to them was really detailed, and I appreciated it because I've asked some of these same questions. It asked about the state of Louisiana moving their state office building. Do they have anything in concrete with regard to that? What did you hear back from Gateway, and were you satisfied?
Well, again, no, I'm not satisfied with where they are on that. And I want to point out, perhaps y'all have talked about this previously, the council before I was elected passed a resolution encouraging or expressing its support for the signature of a non-binding resolution with GDC. And a non-binding MOU was signed. And one of the requirements for us to move forward with further discussions with GDC was that GDC would deliver to the city a commitment from the state of Louisiana to consolidate state offices within a proposed municipal complex at Cross Bayou. That obviously hasn't happened. And from my perspective, I don't see why we should sign any additional memoranda of understanding or agreements until GDC or its successor entity, Gateway Louisiana, satisfies the requirements that were set out in the 2018 resolution. We've already given them an opportunity through a non-binding MOU to pitch their plan to the city. They haven't satisfied those requirements yet.
What's the difference between the MOU we already signed and the one you guys are considering now?
Well, so I've got the MOU that the mayor signed in 2019 in front of me, and it authorizes the parties to negotiate, which is not entirely necessary. I mean, you don't have to have an agreement to negotiate. It talks about Gateway's desire to finalize a master development agreement before the end of last year, which obviously didn't happen. It commits Gateway Development to provide the city detailed information and cost-benefit analyses regarding what the city's investment return would be if it donated or leased land to GDC. It required Gateway to demonstrate the ability to design, build, and finance a new state complex, criminal justice complex, and 500 units of housing. So that's what, among other things, the non-binding MOU that the mayor signed in 2019, without any further input from the council beyond the 2018 resolution, says. The document that is before the council now really doesn't do much more than authorize further exchange of information in anticipation of a possible future agreement. And again, I just don't, I don't know why we need another MOU. Either we can come to an agreement with Gateway that makes sense, which I'm very skeptical of, or we can't. We don't need to sign another document with it.
Mr. John,
I guess, look, another thing I want to point out before we leave the topic of the 2018 or the 2019 MOU rather is a provision that is very concerning to me, which is that it provides that the work product of Gateway that is shared in connection with negotiating this potential deal shall not be shared with anyone outside of the mayor's office and the city planning department without the written permission of Gateway.
Wow.
I can't do my job as a member of the council and as a representative of 25,000 people in the city if the mayor's office signs an agreement with a third party that says, we won't tell the city council the details of your proposal. So I'm not going to approve anything until I know everything that Gateway has disclosed to the city.
Last minute here. A no vote before the council, does it kill this project?
Well, I don't know. There's nothing to prevent Councilman Bradford or other members from coming back in the future with this group. But my bottom line is that the deal that is put on the table, which includes, $539 million invested in luxury condos in the Cross Bayou area, among other things, just is not practicable. It's not going to happen, and I'm concerned that the city could enter an agreement that could cause real harm to our community if it's not clear.
And we didn't even talk about the 10,000-seat multi-purpose soccer stadium, did we?
Mm-hmm.
Or the school that's never going to be built, according to the school board members that I've talked to.